So over the past couple of weeks, you get to see what we have going on in front of the camera, the tasting room, all the fun adventures. Today, we're going to show you a little bit about the things that you don't get to see. So we were making beer yesterday, and my brewer was suddenly like, hey, I think something's going on with the burners. And we just literally replaced, I rejetted, put on new burners, and increased the BTUH output on the burners. But for whatever reason, yesterday, he's like, man, we're getting an inconsistent burn. I mean, we got up to a boil, no problem, and you could hear the difference in the harmonics of the fire, or the flame on the burner, constantly changing. It's like, dude, what's going on? Funny enough, later I get a text from a buddy within 15 minutes of that conversation going, hey dude, do you guys have a gas leak down there? I'm like, huh, a gas leak? And he's like, oh yeah, you hop on the news and they're reporting gas leaks, a natural gas leak somewhere on St. Pete Beach. And I'm like, well that explains our burner issue and why we're getting inconsistent gas pressure flow, because clearly there's a leak somewhere out here and the gas company's working on it. But it was literally funny because, like I said, we went from boiling, making the beer and everything. My brewer's like, hey man, like maybe we need to do some maintenance on it. I'm like, I just rebuilt the thing like 6 months ago. So really there's just a lot of day-to-day stuff to do. You know, no matter what, it's constantly maintaining something. Right now we're getting ready to actually overhaul the beer garden again a little bit. You know, during the winter times of the months, it's just very beautiful out here. You know, especially being out, you know, towards the beach, being in Florida. You know, 365, you can go ahead and sandals, flip-flops, and shorts, go hang out on the beach. And really being out here on the coastal side of town, as long as you're in the shade, it's beautiful out here in St. Pete Beach full year round. You know, the sun, you know, intensity really isn't that bad as far as the heat and temperature. But you know, if you're sitting there in the middle of the beer garden, got the sun dead sitting on you in the middle of July, yeah, it does get pretty warm. So we're actually gonna be taking down this pole. I got a brand new pole going up, and we're gonna put up a couple across the beer garden and then start slinging a couple sails across of it. Again, just providing a little bit more shade. I know we don't have field o vision out here, so you can't really feel what's going on, but really, again, 365, you got a nice breeze coming across this beer garden that, again, as long as you got a little bit of shade and a cold beer in your hand, you're really pretty much enjoying that tropical paradise atmosphere that we got going on out here all year round. So clearly you can see the office has a little bit of everything going on. This is our keg serving box. Pretty neat little setup that I put together for here. Kind of help on being all things efficient. You got the independent regulators, if you want to see, hanging along the back. That allows us to individually adjust the pressure on each of the kegs. And then the cool thing is having the glass windows. Again, trying to be in a hurry, not lose a lot of that temperature, because we want to keep it nice and cold. You can see I keep my box around 34 degrees. I got that kind of set up on our control system, so that way it has a nice defrost, always maximize getting the coldest temperature without freezing it up. But it's also a short draw system where we just got, you know, shanks going through the wall and a trough with a tap handle, so it doesn't have glycol lines chasing the different beer lines going through there. So, you know, no matter what, with most people who are familiar with having that short draw system, it's never a perfect scenario, because you still always have a little bit of foam in that first pour, because that short foot of beer hose that's right before the shank, and even the shank itself before it goes to the beer faucet, that area, that's your warmest point. And of course that cold beer has to come through there, get that shank nice and cold to be able to help get a nice non-foamy pour. So usually it takes the first, you know, 2 seconds. You almost dump that little bit of foam, a little bit of beer right out, because that's the warmest part. And then you go ahead and pour again and you get a nice real good pour. This is Princess Peach. This is our Belgian blonde ale treated with genuine peach. Super delicious, great to drink, good aroma, perfect beer to enjoy out in the beer garden on a warm Florida sunshiny day. And of course, got to have a little bit of fun with it, calling it Princess Peach for Mario Day. March 10th, that's when we release this beer. So for all of our video gamers out there, need something sweet and delicious to enjoy while playing those video games? Here's your beer, you guys.